Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, another edition of He Knows Ball here on this post-championship Monday, January 27th. A little bit of a late start, never a dull moment. Corey, not quite on the IR, questionable to return in his home. John in his usual island of Staten. We were joking before as we were having some technical difficulties. Corey's not allowed to not show up anymore. This is 100% your fault, Corey.
I appreciate the love.
Yeah, of course, buddy.
Love is a stretch.
Yeah. The same. Yeah, love is about the same as much as Cam loves Patrick Mahomes, his newfound fandom.
Oh, don't compare my goat to Corey Ayuk.
But yeah, we got a lot to go over today. Obviously the two games from yesterday. We can talk about the national championship for a little bit from last week. A lot of football to go over. The usuals will go down the stinky, smelly Sorns alley. Go over our guys. But as per usual, let's kick it off with a little bit of Does He Know Ball?
Does he know ball? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are officially getting to the Super Bowl time. But before we do that, we have to elect some people. And I know we're going to talk about this later in this episode. But for the NFL, not so much every sport in the world. We've already had a couple so far this year. But MVP time of the year. Time for the debates to start. Time for everyone to say how much they think Josh Allen deserves it over Lamar Jackson and so forth. But for today, for Does He Know Ball, we're going to go over the 6, maybe 7 MVPs from all the major sports in North America. That includes the MLS, NHL, NBA, WNBA, MLB, and the NFL from last year MVP.
So from every league's last season.
Last season, or technically this season for
so
you know what league.
Okay,
yeah.
so the seasons that have officially concluded.
Yes.
The last cycle.
So what?
All right.
MLB would be the only one that has concluded.
Well, yeah,
Just for your
clarification.
yeah.
So MLB, we got American League is Judgy.
Yep.
The National is Mr. Otani,
Correct.
Mr. 50-50.
MLB's done.
JD, I'll let you take your pick at the next one.
So you're saying NHL from last year, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Nathan, is it McKinnon?
Yes. Nathan McKinnon.
Okay.
Corey,
Last year's MVP.
your turn.
What do we have left?
WNBA, the NBA, the NFL, and the MLS MVP. MLS is also season has been concluded, so
I can take WNBA. I got that one.
Okay. NBA, oh my God, why am I blanking? Was it Embiid?
no.
That was 2 years ago.
2 years ago. Yeah.
I'll give you a little hint. It could be a player from one of the teams for our picks, Corey, or picks for later.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Come on, you got it.
Oh, it was Jokic.
There you go.
It was Jokic. Yeah, I always get the years mixed up. Jeez.
WNBA, MLS, and NFL left to go.
All right, I'll leave NFL for you guys. I'll take WNBA. Asia Wilson,
Yep.
Miss Wilson, 2,000-point scorer.
3rd time MVP, too.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
Absolute bucket.
2 more.
We have 2 more, right?
We have
Yeah.
NHL and
Or
NFL,
NFL.
Lamar.
NFL and MLS. So we got
Lamar Jackson,
Lamar.
correct.
Lamarius Jackson.
And I do not know MLS.
Who was the landing?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, we left Corey in. We left Corey hung out to dry. Bigsy, can you help us out? Do you know?
Hold on. Before Biggs, because I believe Biggs knows this answer, but like, come on, guys. You don't have to know soccer.
Is it Leo?
It is Lionel Messi.
Oh my God.
Yep. 20 goals in 19 matches. He didn't even play half the
wouldn't know.
season.
That was,
Did not even play half the season.
I
Barely played half the season.
I kind of
Still got
forgot
the
he was in the
MVP.
MLS, man.
Yeah.
There you go. We didn't
Congratulations, you
have to
guys.
go to the man behind the camera.
You guys know ball.
Yeah. Congrats. That's a good segue though. We'll get to the championship games in a minute, but they announced the nominees for the NFL awards this past week. We'll go through each of who we think will win the awards. I feel like a lot of them are kind of not really up in the air, but I want to start with what's been bugging me the most. And Cam, I know it's bugged you a good bit. For Offensive Rookie of the Year, There's a man who should have been nominated who isn't, and I know O-line never gets love, but Joe Alt, man,
Agreed.
Notre Dame Fighting Irish alumni, just like he should have been at least a finalist, man.
I don't have his stats up, but I mean, if you probably ask any NFL coach, any O-lineman coach, they would say that they want Joe Alt on that offensive line. Is it a snub? Probably not, because looking off the list,
they don't give love. It's a great list, but I mean, dude, he was the best lineman, the best rookie offensive lineman, and one of the better O linemen in all of football.
Arguably, maybe top 5 for sure, top 10.
Yeah, bro. Like, I don't know. I think it's funny because Deion Dawkins. I don't know if it was pregame or at some point throughout the week, they were talking how the NFL, O line doesn't get love. They should come out with like an O line award because like. They don't get love. They get called out when they have a bad game, but when they have a good game, sometimes the broadcasters will give them some love. But like overall in the world of the NFL, especially to the casual fan, ain't nobody giving them love.
No.
So.
Yeah, no, that's a very valid point. I'm kind of thinking now because like every award kind of has like a name after it. Who would be the name on that O line? You want to just go? I mean, it would be super casual of me to say, but definitely Jason Kelsey.
Jason Kelsey,
probably. But like, I'm trying to think.
Joe Thomas was the Browns left tackle, right?
Believe so.
He was.
Yeah,
he was
an
amazing.
Absolute legend.
Yeah, it might be a little bit of like recency. We'll probably go off of like recent names. There's probably better options for older guys, but yeah, they got to come up with an O-line award, man. Mm-hmm. Like most pancakes, it takes everything in. Because I mean, they always show like the PFF grades when they do like the player introductions. Mm-hmm. Like, there's a reason they're getting graded that way. Let's show the guys in the trenches some love. But let's go over the other awards with no offensive linemen getting love. We'll start with the MVP. The 5. There's 3 finalists, but they always put 5 per award. It's Josh Allen of the now defeated Buffalo Bills, Saquon Barkley, Joe Burrow, Jared Goff, and Lamar Jackson. I think we can all agree it's Lamar, but I think if Burrow made the playoffs, this is an argument we had like a little bit back. If Burrow had made the playoffs, do you think he would have been? Do you think he would have had more of a legitimate chance?
I think so. I really do. Actually, I don't know, guys. I may be in like the only one thinking this, but Josh Allen should have more of like more votes than he should get because I feel like he's more valuable to his team than Lamar is to his team.
That's
but
fair.
I know that Lamar had much better numbers, so he'll get the award. But I think that's the problem with the MVP in general. Also, Saquon Barkley should be the MVP if you think about it, because if you take him off the Eagles, I highly doubt they have 14 wins in the regular season.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
I don't necessarily agree with. I don't want to say that like in this sort of context. Like, not that it's not like I'm going to be angry if Lamar Jackson wins the MVP because he's got the numbers to back it up. He's done it multiple times. Like, he definitely deserves it. But if you take Burrow off this Bengals squad,
oh my God, they're awful.
They're terrible.
They're
not going to go 0-16. But do you think? I think every game against the Browns, I think the Browns would have been the 3rd best team in the AFC North if you take away Burrow off that Bengals squad. I don't see how they would finish above 4th.
He put up the best numbers of his career. And mind you, they were 4-8 entering December. And he rallied that team to win every game down the stretch.
Yep.
He led football in passing yards and passing touchdowns, all career highs. Sure, he threw 9 interceptions. That's what happens when you throw the ball 650 times. And not only did he throw the ball that much, dude, he threw for a 70% completion percentage. That is insane.
No.
Now, there is another award he's nominated for. We can get to that down the line. I believe Burrow should get more love, but can we all agree it's going to be Lamar?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to agree with you, but I'm still have faith in Allen. I think he's getting his. I think he deserves to get his flowers at this point.
It won't be unanimous that it's Lamar, but I feel like it's still going to end up being Lamar.
I just hope it's closer than people imagine.
Let me ask this though: if Jackson puts up, because now this would be back-to-back years he won MVP. If he puts up similar numbers to this year, is voter fatigue going to set in? Will they give him his 4th MVP award in 6 years? If he has another great year, or do you think they'll give it? I
was gonna say at some point you gotta just say, okay, we know he's great, but like there's other guys that are having career years that may not have that ever again. So
Yeah.
you got to take that into account.
I'm hoping this isn't like
agree with you,
I'm really hoping this isn't that year for Burrow, because I don't think it will be. I think this Bengals team will be better in the future.
They're set up in the draft very well. All things considered, how their season went, like it's not like they're chasing. They're in that perfect spot where they're not high enough where they need to draft a quarterback. Like they even need to draft a quarterback anyway.
Yeah.
But they're at a perfect spot where they can definitely get some of those high ranking corners. Like
Yeah.
even in the second round, you're still going to end up being pretty early.
They'll
be fine.
They have good cards for the draft. All right, let's move on to the next award. Offensive Player of the Year. 3 of the MVP candidates are also in this race as well: Barkley, Jackson, and Burrow. And then Jackson and Burrow both having their top offensive partners with them, as Derrick Henry is a finalist, as well as Jamar Chase. Who do we think is going to be the Offensive Player of the Year? Please don't speak.
I'm gonna
at
go.
once.
Yeah. I was waiting for Corey to go because I jumped in front of him last time.
Yeah, I think it's Saquon. I mean, just with the year that he had, 2,000 rushing season, almost broke Eric Dickerson's record. I mean, I think it's a no-brainer.
I totally agree. I also don't understand, if quarterback, we all know an MVP is a quarterback award. They shouldn't even be included.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be included in this. I don't think that should be even the case.
Well,
but yeah, Barkley. Definitely.
I will be very curious because it will be Barkley. I think anytime someone puts up a 2,000-yard rushing season, they're almost guaranteed to win Offensive Player of the Year. But it would be very interesting if Jackson was to win MVP and then a guy like Joe Burrow won Offensive Player of the Year.
Well, it's also the other way around. Some way Josh Allen sneaks in and wins the MVP,
and then
award.
Jackson wins.
Opoy.
Yeah, so I'm very curious on it. It's going to be Saquon, but if the scenario is like that, I think the NFL voting has to really look at their awards and figure out what the value of MVP and Offensive Player of the Year is. But I think we can all agree it will be Saquon. I'm so happy for that. Great. I hope the Giants are happy. All right, let's move over to the defensive side of the ball for Defensive Player of the Year. Another Eagle, a surprise Eagle, making it on the list. Zach Bond, as well as Trey Hendrickson, Myles Garrett, Pat Surtain II, and from the Pittsburgh Steelers, T.J. Watt. It's not going to be Bond. I do want to make the argument, though, real quick, that he did have better numbers than Luke Kuechly's Defensive Player of the Year award season. So just want to put that in there. He won't win. But who do we think is going to walk away with it, guys?
I'll start off by saying this, and I'm sorry, Corey. I don't think it's going to be T.J. Watt. I think we can cross him.
Oh, definitely not this
T.J.
year.
Watt.
Yeah.
T.J. Watt don't get love anyway.
Probably not Bond. I think I don't even know, dude. It is such a. I'm like
It
personally.
shouldn't be Hendrickson. Hendrickson is great on sacks, but no, it shouldn't be.
I don't know, man.
Dude,
he's a true game wrecker. That's the thing, though.
When it comes to to the pass, when it comes to the run, he's not existing.
That's what I'm saying. I know, but I'm saying if you have 18 sacks, that's like, come on.
I feel like
voters.
I feel like voters will look at the stuff on paper.
They look for the numbers.
Yeah, they'll look for the numbers. I think if they look at the overall stats, Hendrickson's overall numbers are not that good. He's great against the pass. When you put him in a run play, he gets phased out of the game. So,
yeah.
There's no diss at Hendrickson. I think there's a reason he's a finalist for. There's a reason he's there. But I don't think it should be Hendrickson. I think it'll yield some votes for sure. I think it's got to be Surtain, dude.
I don't know, dude. I'm personally a little bit butthurt over this one. I think Kirby Joseph deserved it over Surtain. Obviously, definitely biased, but we're talking the dude was almost before week 15 was almost averaging an interception per game, a turnover per game. I don't know. I think Kirby at least deserved a nomination, especially over T.J. Watt. But I don't know, dude. I'd say just give it to Myles Garrett. I think it's going to be Garrett just based off name value alone.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think this is probably maybe besides Offensive Rookie of the Year, this is probly going to be the tightest race. Is this Defensive Award? Because truly, was there a guy that stood out on a defensive scale?
Yeah.
Bond has definitely been the guy who has scaled the most this season, who has consistently improved. But
also look at the defense around him.
Exactly.
There's other guys on the defense that, for the rest of the guys, it's not so much the case for that. I think this is definitely going to be. This is where I'm curious on how the voters will dictate their decision, because I feel like this season all 5 guys are worthy of it.
Agreed.
This is truly a year where anyone could win it. Now, again, there's certain guys who probably won't get it, but if we had to put a stamp, and we have to agree on this, if we had to put a stamp, who is going to win Depoy? Who would we agree? I think we have to have 2 of 4 for the same player for us to pick this.
Go with Corey.
I mean, I still believe in Zach Bond. I don't care what anybody says. Just think about. I know you said there's a lot of great guys on that defense, but he's just another puzzle piece to that defense that just makes them so great.
Yeah, JD.
I'm torn on this one, man. I understand where Corey's coming from, and like last year, the guy like didn't even play for the what was he on the Saints, right?
He's a
He
special
didn't even
player for the
play.
Saints. Yeah.
Yeah, and like what he did this year, I feel like that alone should be deserving of the award. But I feel these guys that vote look at numbers. That's why I really think it will be Hendrickson. But I don't know. Surtain deserved. All these guys deserve it. Honestly, I really can't pick a certain guy. Thank God I'm not voting because I wouldn't know what to do.
Yeah. Cam, if you had to pick one of the 5 right now, you might have to go to the panel behind the screens. Man.
Yeah, this is tough.
I'm gonna say Zach Bond.
Okay.
Specifically on the factor with like, I personally cannot remember the last time a linebacker has won Depoy, middle linebacker. I don't know, dude. It's so tough.
I think Kuechly was the last one.
What was that? 2013,
13, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I say give it to him because what? Myles Garrett won it last year, right?
Garrett won it last year. They refused to give it to TJ Watt.
Yeah, I don't know. If I was going with my heart, vote for Aiden Hutchinson because I mean, greatest player of all time through 6 weeks.
All right, so we'll say it's Bond as the stamp for now. Let's move over. We'll stay on the defensive side. We'll go to defensive rookie of the year. We got a pair of Eagles in Cooper DeJean having a great season with the Birds, as well as Quintanamo Bay, a couple of Rams, Braden Fisk and Jared Verse, and Mr. Porkchop from down in Miami, Chop Robinson. I think this one we can all agree on. I think we can make arguments for everyone else, but I think there's a reason he went at Philly fans as hard as he did is because he was an absolute game wrecker. I think it's got to be Jared Verse.
Yeah, he's a stud. Him or Fisk, I would say. Either one of those guys. Both of them played great this year.
Yeah.
Yep.
Corey, any argument with this? Or are we rocking with Jared Verse?
No. I'm trying to keep the delay in mind, but no, I agree with John.
Yeah,
definitely.
All right, let's move over back to the offensive side. Staying with the rookies of the year, we got Jaden Daniels, Brock Bowers, Bo Nix, Brian Thomas Jr., and Ladarius McConkey. This is like Cam said. This and Depoy are probably the 2 tightest. Because it'll probably go to Daniels. Realistically,
I don't know, dude.
Realistically, they always give it to a quarterback.
It will. I was about to say quarterback. Anytime a quarterback's involved in an award, that's it.
But I mean, if you look at, I don't know, this is no diss at Nix and Thomas Jr. because they were both phenomenal. But I mean, if you look at Ladarius and Bauer's numbers, I mean, dude, they lit up the world. I mean, you look at this Chargers team last year when everyone was injured, not on the field for Herbert, and their passing game was awful. Now, it was a lot more selective passing. But like their passing offense got a lot better. You look at Brock Bowers on the worst team in football. He is a Lamborghini in a trailer park.
Yeah,
I
think
like,
this shouldn't be a quarterback award just for this year.
It shouldn't be. It will be, but it shouldn't be.
Yeah, I mean, if it's going to be the quarterback, it's not going to be Bo Nix. I think we can all agree on that. I think he had too rough of a opening first 7-8 weeks.
Yeah.
Not even to take a shot at Bo Nix. I think we can all agree that
Bo Nix was excellent, man.
Towards the end of the year, once he figured out that Sean Payton offense, he's going to light up that AFC West.
And their offense is only going to get better.
I like seeing Brian Thomas Jr. on here. I mean that whole Jacksonville scenario, that was just
same kind of scenario as
I think he could have been slightly more in the running if Trevor Lawrence wasn't so like on and off this year, getting hurt, and having to go between him and Mac Jones. But me personally, I want to see Brock Bowers win this award. I think he deserves it the most.
I would like to see him.
These guys,
I would like to see him win most, but I can't see it happening.
Fair. I think he
Of
deserves
the
it more than
t- of-
McConkey, but yes.
Of the two, it would be Daniels or Bowers, but they'll put it in favor because they'll say it's a regular season award, and then they'll be like, "Oh, well, Jaden Daniels lit up the postseason." Well, if it's regular season, that should matter. But I think we can agree it should. Bowers should have more of a argument, but it'll end up being Daniels. Am I right about that?
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
All right, let's move over. We'll do the last player award, and we'll switch over to the coaches. Comeback player of the year. We got Christian Gonzalez, J.K. Dobbins, former Jet Sam Darnold, Damar Hamlin, and Joe Burrow. Man, dude, I think it's got to be Burrow, right?
No.
No, what do you mean?
I think it's got to be Darnold.
It's
this
tough,
is the
man.
thing. I have a problem with this award. I don't get it. It's like I know why they have Darnold in it, but like he didn't come back from an injury. Like I feel that should be the award. If you're coming back from an injury, that's what you should. Like last year, Hamlin should have won that award, but instead he didn't. Like you know what I mean? It's like something I don't quite understand that.
Are you
but
saying that just because
don't know.
Flacco didn't come off an injury and he came off retirement?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's what I'm saying. Like I
understand.
don't know why they take that into like it's kind of stupid. I don't get it. But
Because Burrow was playing,
Whatever.
even when he was playing, he was not 100%. So that's where my argument comes
yeah,
in.
definitely not.
And not only did he come back, dude, he had the best year of his career. So that's why my hat is in that race.
That
I
makes
understand Darnold because I don't agree with it, but I see it because he's been awful throughout his career and finally had some success.
I wonder how they're going to take in consideration those last 2 weeks, though.
Yeah.
That Lions game really.
Good point.
on him.
Yeah.
I don't. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they threw, Damar Hamlin back in there. I wonder if they. I don't want to say that was. I don't know why they did that.
They just threw him in there because
Yeah.
he didn't win
Well,
last year.
it's that, and I also think of the sense like last year he played, but he was a special teamer. He actually had to step up. So I think the thing is they make the comeback player of the year a mix between comeback and most improved, and
Yeah.
that's where the
Yes.
distinction has to be.
Yeah.
Because that's where Darnold and Hamlin's case would be. Last year, Hamlin 100% should be in comeback player of the year. But if we're talking most improved, then it would be Darnold or Hamlin. But if we're talking comeback, it should be one of the other three guys coming off of injuries.
Exactly. Exactly.
I still don't understand why Hamlin's on it. Like, because he's 2 years or 2 seasons
Yeah.
removed from that injury.
Well,
Yeah,
again,
makes no
I
sense.
think they used the award.
I mean, I'm not.
I think they
doubting
used
that
the
injury,
award. I
but-
think they used the award as like a most improved / comeback player of the year. I think that's what the issue is. I don't know.
There's a lot of issues with this voting, man.
If
I
we
don't get
had
it.
A lot of issues with the NFL, John.
if we had
There
to-
is, there really is.
if we had to tab someone though, who are we giving comeback player of the year to?
I think it's Darnold. I really do think it's Darnold, just because of like what happened, like his
Yeah.
entire career. Honestly, that they're gonna take that into account.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll notch Darnold. All right. Time for coach of the year. We got Dan Campbell, Kevin O'Connell, Andy Reid, Dan Quinn, and Sean Payton. Who are we giving it to?
Dan Campbell. Next question. He got snubbed last year. He deserves it.
Yeah.
He really got snubbed.
He should have
last
gotten it
year.
last. Who did get it
Yeah.
last year?
Was it Stefanski?
Was
Yeah.
it?
Was it Stefanski?
It might have been.
Yeah,
it might. I don't remember. It might have been.
Because
I
that was
think
the
it was
second. It
'cause-
was the second time he won it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. KOC. I don't think it's Big Red. It's definitely not Big Red. I
No.
think Peyton has an argument, but I think this year wasn't the year. I think it's Quinn and the
Yeah.
KOC have to really have that conversation, man. I think
I just think out of all of them, I think Dan was the best.
Yeah. I'm not. This is no diss at Campbell either. This is not, well, especially with having 30 different defensive starters. I'm not taking that away, but I mean, you got
that's not even my argument. I'll make that argument for the assistant coach.
Yeah, okay.
When we get to that.
Okay.
My argument on this is, all right, Sean Payton, does he deserve it? No, I think he made it very complicated.
It's a good argument, but
I don't think he deserves it. Like his rookie quarterback struggled because he has such a complicated offense.
he
Does
deserves
really
to be a
do-
finalist, but not a winner.
Andy Reid, no.
That's what I'm saying.
I
I think Dan
Quinn-
Quinn should get
Dude,
more
Quinn
consideration
Quinn
than he
needs
than
to
he
be
is.
in that convo, man.
He had some year.
I know
some
Daniels
year.
was
That's why I would give
excellent,
it
but
to him.
yeah, I think it's got to be Quinn.
I think the only person who deserves it other than Dan Campbell is Quinn, yes.
Yeah.
But I think based off, swept the entire division, 15-2, greatest
Mhm.
season of all time, led him to the first seed with, I'm going to bring it up even though I said I
Yeah.
wouldn't. All those injuries.
Yeah.
I mean, dude is always getting clipped every week for the NFL. Like, whatever it is, press conference, whatever.
Let me ask this. If they, I'll make the statement. If they don't consider the postseason, which they say they don't, it should be Campbell. But will they take that into account? Because they always say, oh, it's a regular season award, but they usually always have some factor of the postseason.
Mhm.
We've seen it in years past. I think it should, if we're talking purely regular season, it's Campbell and Quinn. But I feel like because they might slightly take into account the postseason, they might give it to Quinn purely because of that.
That's fair. Okay. The only way I see it where Dan Campbell doesn't win is Dan Quinn's going to win it.
Mhm.
And it's because the assistant coach one is already locked in for the names we'll get to in a second.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm not going to hate it. If KOC wins it, we riot. I think like Kevin O'Connell does not deserve that award. Sean Payton either. It's definitely Dan Quinn or Dan Campbell. I just hope like it's not going to be the issue with this year is it's not going to be snubbed. Whatever it is, like last year, I truly felt it was kind of snubbed. I felt like Dan Campbell deserved it more. This year, it's going to be
The guys are worthy of it.
Yeah, I
sure.
as long as it's Dan Quinn or Dan Campbell, it's got to be one of those.
All right, so Quinn or Campbell, who are we tagging, guys?
Campbell.
Campbell, yeah.
Okay, we'll give it to
Easily.
Thank you, guys.
That's no
Thank
diss.
you.
I'm all for it. All right, the last award we got, the assistant coach of the year. We got both of the coordinators for former.
We got one. We got
former
one
coordinators now.
coordinator.
We got Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn from the Lions. Joe Brady, the OC for the Buffalo Bills. B-Flow, Brian Flores from Minnesota. And Vic Fangio, DC for the Philadelphia Eagles. Guys, who's getting it?
Aaron Glenn.
Yeah, it's got to be Glenn. And it comes down to the point that we made about the 30 injuries. I know Fangio did make Philadelphia's defense the best in football. But I mean
Shout out Dunmore. We're in Dunmore.
but no, the adversity that Glenn went through, I think it's got to be Glenn.
I think like based off scaling too, because I mean like you look back at like the 3-13-1 season in 2021. I mean like dude, people were calling for Aaron Glenn's head. Even last year, people were calling for Aaron Glenn's head, especially after the NFC Championship game. I think the way he's able to like still keep his head level, be able to work with the pieces that he has. I mean. It's like trusting a rookie to have almost 100% of snaps is ridiculous. I don't see how it in a world where it can't be Glenn. I really don't.
I think again, if they take into account the postseason, that would be the only thing that hurts them.
Well, then it'd be Fangio. If
they take, yeah, I think Fangio needs to be in the argument. I think B-Flow should have a case. I don't think they'll win, or he'll end up winning. But I mean, dude, that Vikings defense should not have been as good as it was this year. Yeah.
I agree.
But I can we agree that's all Glenn, guys?
Yeah.
John's gonna stay silent.
Yeah.
John's gonna. We'll get to John's feelings about Aaron Glenn in a minute. All right, let's move over to the big games from this weekend, and we'll circle back to some of this other stuff. So we had the two championship games, the AFC and NFC, and we're getting a rematch of Super Bowl 57 between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles laying the smackdown against the Commanders, 55-23. Shout out Will Shipley, first career touchdown. Go Will Shipley. But no, this is my dream come true. I couldn't be happier on this post-championship Monday. If Philly plays like that in the Super Bowl, don't foresee it happening, but if they play like that in the Super Bowl, they might not have me on the next episode of He Knows Ball post Super Bowl. I might be still partying in the streets of Dunmore. But I mean, I do want to give my flowers to the Commanders, man. They should not have been this good. This is one of the best coach teams, and they're only going to get better. Daniels was excellent. You saw what McLaurin could do with finally a true quarterback. Zach Ertz had a reemergence. Not even talking about his game yesterday. I'm talking the entire season, but like yesterday was phenomenal. And this defense had a bad game yesterday. They got carved up. It is what it is. But I mean, this defense is only going to get better. This O-line is only their offensive line was missing a couple of guys too yesterday. If they're not
was their guard towards ACL.
Yeah. They lost Cosme and they lost someone else. But they were banged up. This is a Commanders team that if we look at next year, the NFC East streak might continue of not having a repeat champion because this team is scary. Like going into yesterday, I felt confident in Philly, but I didn't feel like, wow, we're going to go to the Super Bowl. I was very, very, very nervous at the beginning of the game. But big shouts to the Birds. I'm very happy with that.
I was a little bit shocked that I thought Terry McLaurin would have a slightly better game than
They
he did.
neutralized him.
They definitely.
He had the one breakaway play.
Yeah. But Zach Ertz, man, like that dude, like I'm gonna be completely honest. I did not watch that game. Did not watch a lot of football yesterday.
You're checked out with football.
Yeah, I mean, I'm checked out with football. But I did see after the game though, Zach Ertz getting a standing ovation. That was sick. You don't see that usually out of Philly fans.
Yeah.
Obviously, it is Zach Ertz, so it's slightly different. But him in the tunnel with Fletcher Cox, that made me a little bit emotional. That was sick.
I wonder if that was his farewell performance. That's the thing I'm scared of.
I think his body's either going to be done, or I don't want to say. I think the only way I see him go, just the way he felt back at home. I think I'd love to see Philly give him another chance, bring him back in one more year, try it. Like even if they win the Super Bowl,
I don't see him. I think he might. If anything, if he's going to retire, he might sign a one day with Philly and call it a career.
That'd be cool too.
Yeah.
I think it's just something along those lines.
Yeah.
But
That
even
just-
even
felt
if he
like
ends his
that.
career, like he does another year with the Commanders, like I think he's staying in the NFC East where I would say belonged. I think he never truly belonged in Arizona. I think we can all agree to that. He never truly belonged in Detroit for his 7 days. But no, dude, he left it all out there on the field. And if he decides to hang it up there,
I mean, that's just what a way to go, man. I mean,
nothing.
Arguably, I wouldn't say the greatest performance, but probably one of the greatest performances in Commanders or Washington playoff history, for sure.
Couldn't tell you the last time I saw the Commanders in the playoffs. I mean, usually we were battling for a top 5 draft pick.
Yeah. But no, big shout, Zach Ertz, Eagles legend. I know one of my family group chats, they were all wearing Ertz. They have like Ertz Eagles jerseys, and they were like, "Should we take him off for today?" I'm like, "Nah, you got to rock the Ertz still, man."
I mean, you guys are
that's
better
love,
than
man.
me. I didn't throw my Matt Stafford jersey away. I put it out of sight for a very long time during that the Rams playoff game.
But the Eagles' second Super Bowl appearance in 3 years, and from the other side, a chance for a three-peat. And making sure that Josh Allen will never see a Super Bowl. 4th time they have beaten Josh Allen in the playoffs. Chiefs do it again. Yeah. Yay.
What do you guys want to talk about from this game? There's a lot we can break down.
I don't want to talk about any of it.
Yeah, I don't even know where to begin.
Xavier Worthy incomplete pass that they counted.
Yeah, how was that a catch?
That was definitely not a catch.
I'm gonna argue it from this side because I agree with you guys that that was not a catch.
His new fandom, he's gonna argue for his team.
I'm gonna argue for my team real quick. Did he have full control of that ball? No. Whoever the safety was, or the corner, whoever was guarding him for Buffalo, had control of that ball on his chest. Did he have an arm underneath the ball and on top of the ball when it hit the ground? Yes. Did it like move, wiggle, do any of that sort of stuff? No. Do I think he caught the ball? No. Do I think the Buffalo corner caught the ball? Absolutely. I understand like people getting angry about the ball hitting the ground, but did it really move? Like it sucks, and it's of course like that's the sort of play that's going to happen on a Kansas City Chiefs AFC's championship game. I think we can all agree that just seems too perfect that team gets that sort of scenario. But I don't like he didn't really lose control. Not even saying that he caught the ball because like he only had one arm on the ball. I think the entire time. I think the corner straight up just gave up on the ball and they gave him the possession. I agree with you guys that it hit the ground, but I think that's a catch. I think that's going to stand as a catch just on the basis that the ball did not move.
I don't know what a catch is in the NFL anymore, man.
Agreed.
They don't dictate what a catch. One day it'll be a catch, the next day it won't. Most of the time the catch will count for the Chiefs, or it'll go against the team the Chiefs are playing, or whatever it is in the league.
But I saw someone else make this point. If that's a catch by Worthy, Dez Bryant caught that ball.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Like I don't know. Like you just said, I think it's really dependent on the ref crew. Like is that a play that goes to New York? That one was that reviewed? That's reviewed off.
Yeah, they reviewed that.
Forever,
yeah.
Okay, maybe it was the script writers who pushed that one through then. I guess Josh Allen, was it a first down? I don't think so. I think
that was super close though.
Yeah.
the refs had 2 different spots, which is another issue. But I mean, that could have happened in any game.
I don't know how we're so advanced with technology, and it still comes down to like guys making these refs again and again just make the wrong calls.
They
man.
need to
put a chip in the football.
Yeah.
I don't know what you got to do, but you got to do something, man.
I think I don't know if you guys do. Any of you guys watch tennis? Any of you guys? I know Jack definitely does. You know about the Eagle Cam, the Sky Cam, the Hawk Cam, whatever it's called nowadays.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
And like during like the U.S. Open and all major tennis tournaments, there's cameras placed around the stadium, like on the top, and they use like artificial intelligence or something, and they see if the tennis ball like is in on serves if it hits the white line or something like that. I don't see how that's not unrealistic for the NFL.
Exactly. How are we not to that point yet, man? Like, we got to do something.
I mean, soccer has VAR where you can clearly see if the ball is even a hair length off the goal, like for it to be a goal.
Yeah.
Like that.
I think it's
We're too advanced in technology to not have some of these things. It shouldn't come down to the human eye for a lot of these things, man. There's got to be a chip in the ball. There's got to be AI. I don't care what you do, but NFL, stop focusing on adding another game to the schedule and focus on making the game that you have now right.
Okay.
Well, exactly. I mean, you got all these referees that are like ancient. They've been in the league for about 50 years. They need a new pair of glasses. You're telling me that you could trust the human eye in those situations?
Yeah.
No, it's BS.
I agree with you, Corey. But I want to bring up this point because with like the rise of like VAR specifically in soccer, there's been a lot of complaints that it takes the magic out of the game, especially when it comes to like offsides are no longer really like there's no like close calls anymore. Like it's completely like if you're off, you're off. Like some people say it kind of ruins the magic. Do you guys think that would be the case, or are you guys kind of on the side of like, well, we haven't tried it yet? Why even make an opinion on it?
They gotta try it first, man, because all you hear is how you look on Twitter, you go on TikTok, you go on any social media, and all it is how much the refs suck, dude. You gotta try something different, at least from the NFL. Maybe every other league, NBA is its own issue, but like NFL, all you hear is the refs suck, the refs suck, the refs suck. You gotta do something. Clearly, you gotta do something different. So they gotta try something.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, they can't keep doing what they're doing.
JD, what do you think?
Well, it's getting bad when like the Texans are saying it's us against the refs. Gene Sterator's posting a tweet saying refs let them just play. Like it's getting bad.
There's so much that points to the NFL needing to make a change from a rules standpoint and a refereeing standpoint. It's so bad, man.
Speaking of ref ball, I didn't watch. Obviously, I didn't watch the Eagles game, but I heard a lot of my buddies who are Eagles fans complaining about that one hit on Jalen Hurts. I don't know what I'm talking about, obviously, but I heard there was like a roughing the passer or something that was pretty soft.
Yeah,
in like the first half.
His foot was just landing out of bounds when he got hit.
Okay,
but
I don't know. I just wanted to bring it up.
It could have definitely gone. That's the thing is like, there's got to be consistency because there's been probably 100 examples of that earlier in the year where that either doesn't get called or they're begging for a foul and it doesn't get called, and then in the NFC Championship it's getting called.
Yeah,
it's got to go the entirety of the way. They have to really find a way to define the rules because they're calling it half the games. They're calling it where that's roughing the passer or necessary roughness, and then the other half, it's not a household name. It's a Mac Jones running out of bounds, and he gets hit like that, and there's no flag called. So there's got to stop with the favoritism, and there's got to stop with the There has to be consistency across the league, or at least it doesn't be perfect, but it needs to be more reliable. It can't be this 50-50 ball.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
JD, you got anything to chime in before we move on about that?
No, you guys know I can't stand the referees. It's just nothing you can do about it. It's just part of the game, I guess, at this point. Like, we already know how the Super Bowl is going to go. It's going to be a close game at the end. Chiefs are going to get a penalty. I mean, I at this point, it's just the NFL is so predictable. It's upsetting.
It's sad.
It really is. It is because it's like it's the same thing on repeat. Like me and my brother were joking about it last night. What are the Chiefs going to win 10 Super Bowls in a row unless Mahomes gets like a season-ending injury or something? I was saying that to Corey too. I was the only way any other team in the AFC has a chance is if Mahomes gets hurt.
They'll reuse the Nick Foles storyline from the Eagles one. They'll have Carson Wentz will come out there.
Listen, man.
It's unbelievable.
Think of your favorite TV show of all time. Think of Squid Game. That just came out recently. God. Is player 456 ever going to die? No. Patrick Mahomes has plot armor. I think it's very evident now. He sprained his ankle in the beginning of the year, and he somehow still came back. That man has more plot armor than the main character of Squid Game. He will never go down.
Yeah. Yeah, we need a little bit of what's a show where like one of the Yellowstone, how one of the sons dies in the first episode.
Mhm.
We need that, man. We
No,
need.
that's just, I think that, as I said earlier, I think that would just add gasoline to the fire if that was like
Yeah.
something that happened on the Patrick Mahomes side of things.
Yeah.
More motivation for him.
But all right, let's move on. We know what the Super Bowl is going to be. We'll talk a little bit more about that come next week. Good news coming out of this is back in the divisional round, but the Buffalo Bills fans donating a ton of money to Mark Andrews' foundation. So a little bit of sweet in this bitter weekend of championship football. So that's a little bit of nice.
Buffalo.
I know Corey likes seeing that headline.
That's right.
Yeah.
I wish the football gods would have rewarded the Bills a W, you know,
Yeah.
for all their generosity.
They spent their win in the regular season, man.
Yeah.
All right.
Did I not say that? I wish we can go back in the group chat.
You did.
I definitely said that in our group chat. I was like, "Yep, they beat them now. It's over. They're not."
Well, we just need to boycott the league. We just need to
Mhm.
boycott the Super Bowl. Watch the ratings go down, so then Roger Goodell could be like, "Okay, we need to like have
Change
a different
the
winner."
script,
That's the
yeah.
only, really, it's the only way.
Listen, they're giving us
Yep.
a horrible game, but a great halftime show. That's all that
Yeah.
matters.
Yeah, Kendrick
That is
and
true.
Sis is going to be good. All right, let's move in to some of the other news from the teams who did not make the playoffs. A bunch of coaching hires, still one availability left with the New Orleans Saints. But there's been 6 hires, and I kind of want to go through and rank what we think the best hire is from top to bottom. So the hires for this season, or for the season so far, has been Ben Johnson, former offensive coordinator of the Lions, heading to the division rival Chicago Bears. Brian Schottenheimer getting promoted from offensive coordinator to the head coach for the Dallas Cowboys. For the Jaguars, Liam Cohen signing the day after they fired their GM. Pete Carroll, not coming out of retirement because he didn't retire. He just moved into the front office, but now the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders purely because he hates Harbaugh. I believe that is the only reason he took the Raiders job. We got Mike Vrabel heading back to his former team of the New England Patriots, and John getting his new head coach in Aaron Glenn. So if we had to rank this from, I would say, let's take into consideration the best fit and then who we like personally the most going to their jobs from top to bottom. Let's start at the bottom. Who do we think the worst hiring so far of the 6 are?
Don, you want to go?
I'll let you guys go.
I'll let you guys go first.
All right. I think the worst one has to be Schottenheimer. You know, there's all this rumor about bringing in Coach Prime, bringing in Witten, you know, landing one of these big, and then they go in house and get like.
They went in house. It's a typical Jerry move. Like, did we really expect Jerry
Yes, I
Jones
was
to
about
go?
to say that.
It's like the only outsider would have been Deion Sanders, and we're talking about a former player.
I
who's
think
still close with Jerry.
I think
like,
the only one that actually would have had a chance would have been Kellen, besides Prime at least, because Kellen Moore had proved with the Eagles' offense like they could be very efficient, and that's the only reason because he had been there and been their OC before. I could have seen him coming back, but it's such a lame move, man.
I agree. I'm,
Jerry just wants a coach that'll agree to every single thing he says.
Yeah, he wants
Of
a
course,
he wants
Schottenheimer's
a
gonna do
Yeah,
that 'cause
and he'll
he
be
wants
out
to
in
be
a few
coach.
seasons.
Yeah.
He'll be out.
not that
Yeah,
I
three years.
Not that I feel bad for Cowboys fans, but I think it's about time for them to realize this team is never going to be successful until Jerry Jones unfortunately passes away. I think like
Well,
it's-
even still, bro,
like,
it's
there's
gonna-
no
the
other way
thing-
to say it.
The
dude.
thing after that is even when he passes away, it's gonna go to his doofus kids.
maybe
Yeah.
they're better, dude.
They're even worse.
Someone from the Cowboys is gonna have to cut like a CM Punk pipe bomb promo about how he hates the McMahon family. Like someone needs to do that, dude, because that's how it's gonna be for the Cowboys until the Jones family no longer owns the team. This team is gonna be a house fire, a dumpster fire. Like it's a joke.
And it's I mean it's the most expensive franchise. It's the richest franchise in the NFL. So like I don't know anyone who's going to be able to put out
No
that
one's
kind of
gonna-
money to
yeah.
buy it, dude. Unless like it's turns into like English soccer and like some Saudi government. ends up
Yeah, I was
buying a
gonna say
team.
you're gonna get that, or you're gonna have to get like the greatest band of retired athletes to invest in this team.
Do you
but-
imagine oil money hitting the Dallas Cowboys? I'd lose it. I would lose it. I would lose it.
they would just become the Dodgers. Just sign everybody.
Literally. They would find a way to break cap rules.
All right. Can we agree of the 6 signings that Schottenheimer is at the bottom of the pyramid?
Oh my God, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope he does well, though.
Yeah.
I liked him from when he was a coach with the Jets, but yeah, he's definitely not ready for this.
All right. Who do we think number 5 is of the hires, guys? I want to get John's opinion. Who do we think 5 is?
It's Aaron Glenn. It's got to be, because I think Liam Cohen and Ben Johnson have a lot of potential in them, just because of who they're working with. And I think Pete Carroll's number 2 because he can turn that Vegas team around very quickly.
Mhm.
And Vrabel's definitely the best fit, best guy for the jobs too. I think so. But
So we think it's going to be Glenn.
that's just me. You guys could probably disagree with me, but
I highly
that's what I
disagree
feel.
with
That way.
I see. I know why Cam's shaking his head, but I think Glenn is what the Jets kind of need. It depends on who their OC becomes. I think that's going to be a huge thing. But I think with how bad the Jets defense is, they need to find their identity. They have too many talented players defensively to have the defense they had this year, and I think Glenn is gonna define that defense for them. So I know you have some bias towards it, JD. I can't say Glenn is the second worst hire so far.
I think I understand why you're angry about bringing in another DC after multiple failed attempts. I like totally understand that. But you bring in a guy like Aaron Glenn who has dealt with media criticism for his entire time that he was with Detroit. He truly never gave up on his franchise. I think the only time I've ever seen him sit back and relax was when we were up 47 against the Jaguars. I truly think, I hope you found your guy. I really do. Because, he easily could have went to the New Orleans Saints, but they didn't want to give him a brand new GM. At least the Jets are, working with him. He got to pick the GM that he wanted. I think you brought a guy who's going to bring the discipline and that fire that guys like Sauce Gardner are going to need to thrive on. Literally, I think you brought in a guy who truly understands the organization. He brought in a former player who's going to bring in his own ideas because of everything Dan Campbell that has taught him. I think you guys got the best. I think you guys hands down got the best available candidate that you absolutely could have. If you go with a more offensive guy, say for some reason you guys picked up Pete Carroll, I think that would have been an absolute dumpster fire. I think you bring in any sort of offensive guy who wasn't even Ben Johnson. I don't think it would have worked out as well as you think it is. I think you brought in a guy who is going to truly turn this team around in the long term. It's not going to happen next year. It's not going to happen the year after that. I think if you can give him 5 years of just comfort and just trust, I think you will see the results, and I think you'll be very happy with how things change.
I think the only thing that scares me, and I can understand where John's coming from, is look at the last guy they hired. A great defensive coordinator.
Carbon copy.
Well, he was not.
Carbon copy.
Let me get this straight. I don't think Aaron Glenn's a great defensive coordinator. I don't. I think he's a great motivator.
But that's also what Saleh was. You saw him on the sideline for
Carbon
the
copy.
Niners. You saw him on the sideline. This is why John doesn't like this, because you look at Saleh in San Fran when he was the DC. It's ironic that he went back there, and it's funny, John, because he's going to go back to the same exact Saleh he was before he left, and I know it's going to make you so angry. But you look at he's firing up his defense, running up and down the sideline. When he got to New York, dude, his jaw was wired shut, and he lost. I don't know what happened. I don't know if Woody Johnson said, hey, I don't want you running up and down the sideline. I don't know what it was. But he lost that fire, that ultra motivation that he had when he was with San Fran. That's the fear that John has with Glenn. I don't think it's going to be the same scenario. I'm hoping for John's mental sake it won't be, but I can definitely see where the worries come in. But I still don't think that Glenn is the worst hire or the second worst hire.
Again, I think you got a guy who played in the league for a very long time in a very scrappy era of the NFL, true smash mouth football. You got a guy who wasn't necessarily a first round, a top guy. No one, unless you were big into NFL around that time, you weren't going to know who Aaron Glenn was. Unless you were a fan of the Saints or the Jets, you weren't going to know who Aaron Glenn was. You got a guy who knows how to build up himself and knows how to build up those ordinary players. You saw. Granted, you can say all the things about how easy the Lions' schedule were, and that's why they went 15-2. But at the end of the day, he got the defense to step up, just random guys. Like I said, Pat O'Connor. He's able to bring up those random guys who he can see himself in them, and understands the grit and the want to continue to play in this league just simply for the love of the game. I hope that Woody Johnson doesn't screw him over, because I'd be more than happy to take him back in Detroit. But I think you truly got your guy that you've been needing. And I could totally, you probably felt the same way when you first hired Robert Saleh. You were through the roof. I don't know. I really hope the best for Aaron Glenn. I don't think he's going to be nearly as
Yeah.
bad as you think he is.
I'm just hoping for John's sake, man. I just know how angry he gets with his Jets, man. But
Yeah, I mean, if we want to keep, I'll talk about him a little more. But if you
Yeah.
want to keep ranking, then I can do it. It
we
doesn't matter.
can circle back. I say let's keep going with the rest. I don't think I can put Glenn there. Honestly, you're thinking Ben Johnson for 5, aren't you?
No, I'm thinking Pete Carroll.
Really?
I think
I'm kind of. Yeah.
I think the NFL is like changed in a way. I think Pete Carroll has done amazing things. He did amazing things in Seahawks.
Yeah.
But no, I don't. I just don't. I think the NFL has moved past him. I think the Raiders is just I don't think he's going to fit the culture of the Raiders.
No.
Like it didn't really make sense to me. I opened up that notification and I was just kind of like, huh, that's
it was
cool, I guess.
questionable.
Like he's going into the division he knows. I don't think it's going to work out the way the Raiders fans probably think it will. It seems very.
It won't be. It
It's
definitely
weird.
won't be the worst hire. But yeah, I don't. It's definitely a bottom half. It was very confusing because he's an older coach and they're in a rebuild. It'd be different if he was taking over a team who was maybe one piece away. They only have one piece, and that is Brock Bowers. So
I don't.
I mean, we've seen that you look at how he rebuilt Seattle in a few years. So if he's able to do that, I think this comes down as a great hire. But he is, what, 73, 74
exactly.
years old?
Like you're talking about like when he was younger in Seattle. Like
yeah.
dude's only getting older. I mean, like
Yeah.
look at Harbaugh, and like Harbaugh is not necessarily an older guy, but he like and like I don't mean to like bring this up like say he's a bad coach, but like obviously like it was pretty well documented that Harbaugh was having health problems this season.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that maybe could have played a role in why the Chargers had such a horrible game. But like Pete Carroll's what? Like you said, 73. I just it doesn't make sense for the long run. It looks like they're like it seems more of like a bridge head coach more than anything. It doesn't make sense.
I'm wondering if you're bringing him in to kind of set the culture, and then when he steps down in a couple years, his OC or DC becomes that head coach. I don't know what the scenario is.
But like if you're trying to set the culture, that's where you bring in a guy like Deion Sanders who could probably fit the culture better than Pete. Like, I don't know, dude. Like Pete Carroll's the white dude that you would see at like your random family like picnic gather. Like he doesn't like when you think of the Raiders, like you know what I'm talking about though, right? Like when you think of the Raiders, like you think of that Antoine Pierce, that like that hard hitting. Like
you think criminals.
I don't want to say it like that, but like
I'm saying the roster. I'm saying the roster. I'm saying the roster.
Okay, but like they always had that like kind of like it's the Raiders. Like they had that thug mentality in Oakland, and it worked for them. It worked for them for a
but
while.
But now they're in Las Vegas though. They can't be. They can't have that.
Now
mentality.
I guess you're bringing in like the mob boss mentality with Pete Carroll, but like is Pete Carroll really a mob boss? Like I don't know.
They're reviving James Gandolfini to take over his role as Tony Soprano and have him become the head coach.
Let's move on because this is going to turn into why Pete Carroll's the Godfather in like a couple of seconds.
All right, so can we agree that Carroll is 5th? Corey, can you kind of agree with that? Because it's a very weird.
I don't know. I really don't. I think he's going to be good for them. You can go, Corey, but go.
Yeah, like I'm torn too because I see what both of you guys are saying. Like Pete Carroll's had a lot of success, even in his collegiate days. Like he's a good coach, but again, I'm also questioning how he's going to fit that dumpster fire of the Raiders. Like, what are the Raiders? You really think that he's going to lead like a team with like AOC? Like, I don't know.
It is very weird. I think because we got 2 people agreeing with Carroll being 5th, I think we'll put Carroll 5th as our rankings. So 4th, John, again, I know you're going to kind of keep holding Glenn down. I'm not crazy about the Liam Cohen signing. I'm not going to lie. He pump faked the signing before and then signed there after getting the GM, which I can understand to an extent. But I'm not totally sold on it, especially because he's going into not a great situation. You don't know really what the plans are with Lawrence. I know you signed him, but he hasn't been great. I know he's been hurt, but like I don't know how to feel about Lawrence.
Yeah,
you have truly one good offensive weapon because Etienne's really not done much. Bigsby still isn't. He's not there yet.
You got success in Brian Thomas Jr. You got your guy.
Yeah, but like that's
your
it.
Future
though.
wide receiver 1, yeah.
But that's it. So like I'm not crazy about the Cohen signing.
Yeah, it's not nearly as bad as a dumpster fire as the Raiders are currently. But like I think the Cohen signing makes more sense in the long term than the Pete Carroll signing does.
I think because Cohen was going to be my 5th, and then once we started thinking about Carroll, I think because Cohen's younger and they might give him a little bit of a longer leash.
Yeah.
That might be what benefits him. I just feel like he's one of those guys who will be a great OC, but when he becomes a head coach, it just won't translate. There's guys like that. There's a lot of guys like that.
Yeah.
I just feel like that's how Cohen is. Any argument from the peanut gallery?
No, I don't think so.
All right, so we'll put Cohen fourth. And just to appease John, we'll put Glenn third, not to keep putting him up the rankings.
I'd put Ben Johnson.
I know you'll put Ben Johnson. And I think it's close. I think
partially, I will admit, partially for hate watching. I'm not going to lie. I'm
I
gonna
think
be hate watching the Bears all
think
next
it
season.
depends on both teams' off seasons to say who 3 and 2 is, because Johnson's going to be rebuilding, like putting the final pieces on this team. They're an offensive line away from truly being, I wouldn't say a contender, but legit. Because Caleb Williams was under so much pressure, and I think putting a guy like Ben Johnson with that talented of a quarterback, they're going to have success. I know you're hating it, Cam.
I'm absolutely gonna hate on him. Okay. I understand that the NFL is a business. I understand. Yeah, like he eventually was gonna move on. I'm not necessarily angry that like he moved on. I'm angry that he went to the Bears. Absolutely. I mean, I would rather see him at Oakland.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It's the way everything has turned out. The way the I don't want to go back to this game because it's over. It's in the past.
For you, it's salt in the wound.
But it is salt in the wound. Like, you don't prepare. You saw what Saquon Barkley did to the Commanders yesterday. You have Jahmyr Gibbs and you give him the ball 14 times, and then the 2 days after the game, you absolutely blow up on offense. You immediately sign with the Bears. Like, whatever. Like, okay, and then you immediately have Dennis Allen picked out. You immediately have your OC picked out. You start picking guys, like he said in a press conference that he wasn't going to start picking Dan Campbell's coaching offense. He takes our wide receiver coach, brings him in. He tried to take our O-line coach. He tried to bring him to the Bears. Like, he's I don't know, dude. It's a little snake in the grass move. I'm not a fan of it. Granted, this is also the first time that anyone has ever wanted a Lions offensive or defensive coordinator. Like, that's a new feeling that I've never had to experience before.
Yeah,
but just the way the whole situation is, the way that the team felt deflated during that divisional round, it is salt in the wounds, and it sucks. I'm happy for Glenn. I'm not happy for Ben Johnson.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't wish him success.
I think we're gonna avoid your.
That's fine. I agree.
I think we're gonna avoid yours just because it is a lot more personal for you. Corey, John, who do we actually? I'm gonna avoid John as well. I kind of want to get Corey on this, just because again, John has some bias towards the Glenn. So, of the two head coach signings, Corey, which do you think is better, Glenn or Johnson, for their respective teams?
God, that's a tough one. I mean, for Ben's case, going to the Bears, I know is going to leave a sour taste for Lions fans, but I also think that might kind of rejuvenate this Bears team because they got a new coach who played against who is coaching for the Lions, and it's a division rivalry. So maybe that'll, I don't know, get this team excited to play football. But then with Glenn's issue, it's like, or Glenn's signing, it's like, the Jets logo looks in the mirror and it's like, what am I? Like, who are we? Like, so they'll take anybody really to try and find an identity. But I don't know. There's pros and cons for both.
You're gonna be the deciding vote. Who is 3 and who is 2? You got to put the number because we got to keep John and Cam kind of voided because they're against their respective guys. And I want to help because I'm kind of at a crossroads as well. Who are we putting as the third and second?
I think Glenn is the better signing than Johnson.
So Johnson is third and Glenn is second. And then first, I think, what's up?
I will disagree with you solely on the basis that I will put Glenn at 3 just because there's going to be a lot more of a long-term needed change out of that team.
Johnson's
Johnson's going to be a quicker turnaround. Yeah, that's just because they have the quarterback already. They have some of those offensive weapons. I mean, their defense needs work. I think Glenn's gonna be in a tougher situation than Bears fans are. And
for at least the immediate long run, I think it's gonna be close. I think both these teams are gonna be turning around.
This is something we'll have to revisit once April comes around in the draft.
100%. And then I think we can all agree Mr. Vrabel is the best signing. We talked about this last week.
Yeah.
I mean, Vrabel, 100. He fits the culture. He's going to lead this Patriots team to a good place.
Yeah.
Real quick, but we'll move on from head coaches in just about a second. Who do we think is going to take the Saints job? I know they're interviewing Kellen Moore, I believe today, but just New Orleans is just not the place to go. At least for head coaching. For the Super Bowl, yeah. For the game now.
Kingsbury? in conversation
Kingsbury
with
might
Saints?
might be.
Is
well,
he-
he might be now. He was not taking any
Yeah, I know
coaching.
he didn't
Take,
learn from that, Ben. Okay.
I don't know. We're gonna have to wait to see some more rumors. But yeah, New Orleans is just.
We'll
not the
revisit that on
destination.
Monday.
Yeah, we'll circle back to that next week. I want to switch over to college for a quick second, just because we're on the topic of coaches. We saw the Jim Knowles signing to Penn State. I'm very confused by that.
He got a huge raise supposedly. So,
Yeah, he
that's
is,
what
I
usually
believe-
coaches do now. No one's loyal.
He is the highest paid defensive coordinator in college football now. And I think that's great for Penn State. I think having that on the defensive side, I mean, Ohio State did have better players and they did have the best defensive football. But I think it's very interesting to see. I know that there's going to be some bad blood if they play each other next year. I just want to say that for college. Also, we're not shouting out Ohio State. We did not want to see Ohio State win. Losers. Anyway, last bit of NFL before we move on to some of the other segments in the show. The rumor coming out about the Titans with the usage of their top pick, I'm very, very, very confused by. Not let me rephrase, not confused, but I'm intrigued because you have the top pick. It's kind of been proven that Will Levis is probably not going to be the guy in the long run, and yet they've made it clear that they're going to take, quote, the best player available. But also, like, when you say that, there's two names that come. It's not like there's one player that comes to mind. It's between Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter.
Yeah. I'm on the side of this. I agree with this one. I think they're gonna try and bring in another quarterback. Whether say like the Steelers pass up on Russell, maybe they don't re-sign Justin Fields. I think there's gonna be a decent amount of quarterbacks in free agency this year where I think they can wait to draft a quarterback, maybe pull some random dude from Nebraska at 5th. Like I think I'm okay with that. I don't think that hurts their future that much. I think it hurts their future going for a quarterback in that.
I think they'll grab one of these day 2, early day 3 QBs, have a quarterback controversy. Maybe the competition will bring the best out of Levis or the guy that they draft. But yeah, I mean, they got to draft the best available. Or could it? I'm curious if it is just a smokescreen and they're truly invested in a guy like Ward or Sanders.
I don't know. Last time they took a quarterback this high was Marcus Mariota, and I mean, we kind of see how that turned out. So I don't think Will Levis is going to be a generational backup like Marcus Mariota is. Yeah. I think they stay far. I think
at least one more season.
I think if you're the Titans front office, stay as far away from the QB room as
next year's class is really good too. So I could see them having one more year. If they get a guy like Hunter, all right, we're giving you the best receiving weapon possible that we could get. Or if they're just adding to the defense, whatever it is, we're putting the best players around you, see what you can do, and then from there, move on. Guys, is it a smokescreen, or do you think they kind of stick to this statement?
I think it's a smokescreen. Usually teams like to lie a lot, just the way the NFL works. I mean, and if you think about it, they need a quarterback. They can't afford to lose. And you could see quarterback like Commanders, they get their guy and they make it all the way to the NFC Championship.
Yeah.
So teams shouldn't have that excuse anymore. Yeah. Like, oh, we're waiting. Like, you don't have to wait to be good.
I'm gonna disagree with you. I think teams, especially in the NFL, I think the NFL promotes losing. I think not like look at how the draft system is set up. I mean, like, it's not like other sport leagues across the entire world. Like, there's no fear of relegation. Like, you're still going to get the paycheck at the end of the year. Your fans are still going to show up. No one's really going to be protesting season ticket prices. I think the way the NFL is set up, it promotes losing in order to gain ahead in the future. I think
there should be some lottery.
Like, I think if you're a Titans fan, I think it's safe to say to accept that you're probably not making the playoffs this year or the next year. I think. Work on building around your quarterback before you get your quarterback.
All right, last little bit because we do have to move on. Do we think the NFL should integrate to having like a draft lottery or something, even if it's not all the teams that missed the postseason, but at least like the top 5, top 10, something like that?
No, I think that's horrible.
How would you get rid of losing then?
Get rid of losing? I think
or like the forced losing. Or promoting
forced losing. I don't think there is a true set solution. I think the only way, I'm a big fan of like the way that English soccer does it. Like, I think promotion and relegation would never work in the NFL. No. But I think that's the only way you can truly punish losing.
Yeah.
Maybe there's like a way you can fine teams or like. But like
you can't find teams for losing.
Yeah,
man.
There's
coming from a Lions fan.
There's no way of going around it. Yeah. I think the NFL, the way franchises work, I think there's no way you're ever getting away from the situation. Yeah. I think I don't think teams are gonna ever say they're gonna try to lose, but like, yeah, there's no way around. I don't think a lottery system works either. I think that hurts teams more than it helps, really, as well.
Guys, any thought on possibly switching up how draft order is dictated?
Yeah, I don't know how a lottery would work for the NFL because I know like the NHL does it, but I like Cameron. Excuse me, like Cameron said, I think you're just not gonna teams are gonna lose and they're gonna try and get the best draft position. Like I don't think you're ever gonna get rid of that.
Yeah, JD kind of agree with that.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think the coaches are the only things that are stopping teams from really tanking because they want to keep their jobs.
Yeah,
That's the only way.
I mean, you saw it with Lovie Smith. He won the game for the Texans and then got fired right after because he was told I was brought in to win.
Yeah, it's coaches are going to want to keep their jobs unless there's no solution.
All right. I think we got to move on. I think it's time for our favorite segment, Moi Goy of the Week.
Wait, is that your goy?
No, I thought that was your goy.
No, that's
Moi Goy of the Week.
John, we're going to start with you because I know how much you really wanted to talk about this.
Yeah, all right. Well, Patrick Mahomes. There's nothing. We have nothing. Like it's just greatness. I mean, we can't complain about it. We can't do anything about it because of how good he is. It's like when Tom Brady was around. You can't. There's nothing you can do about it. He's just that good. He's going for his 4th Super Bowl ring after winning yesterday. 245 passing yards and a touchdown. Didn't even break a sweat. Had 2 rushing touchdowns with 40-something yards. He's just elite. I got nothing else. That's it.
You can't deny it at this point.
Nope, you can't.
Yeah, let's see if he can go for history. Corey, who's your guy of the week?
Well, I got the other quarterback. It's Jalen Hurts, Vinny. All these people, all these haters were saying that the Eagles only rely on Saquon, but man, he showed out in a blowout victory over the Commies and 246 passing yards, 4 total touchdowns, 3 on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And they're heading to the Super Bowl to battle the Swifties in New Orleans.
Yeah. All right. No, I'm not going to say this one's bittersweet for me because it's not bitter. It is mainly just sweet. My guy of the week. No, it's not. Is Nick Sirianni. And it's funny how you guys kind of have notes. And for me, I just put speak from the heart. Because if you go back to the week that we came back from Pittsburgh, I crashed out, man. I was freaking out on Sirianni. Through 4 weeks, it looked like this was going to be a bad year and that Sirianni would be on the hot seat. Philly media kind of dictates how a team is going to react. And there's plenty of times I'm listening to Philly media, and they're letting Sirianni know, like, you're going to get fired. They're making fun of him for shaving his head. He's yelling at fans. You can't deny at this point that he is a good coach. Last year was a catastrophic fall off, and this year realistically dictated if he was going to keep a job in Philadelphia. Like I said, through 4 weeks, it did not look good. Things looked really bleak. But I think he proved that he is a great coach. From week 5 on, you lose 1 game. And it's a 1-point loss to the Commanders, who we can all agree is the up-and-coming team in the NFC. Right? And he won in numerous ways. This team ran the ball. The defense stood tall. There was games where these games should have been close, and they won by 20 points throughout the season. Like, he proved that he is an elite coach in this league. Now, again, his legacy will always be tarnished if he doesn't win a Super Bowl. He wins during the regular season. That is the big thing. Is he always wins during the regular season, and then come postseason, entering, I think he had a 2-3 record in the postseason. Right? He needs to finish the job. But that doesn't take away from everything he's achieved with this team this year. And you can say it was all roster. People will always make the argument that, the roster can always overtake the coach. I think football is the main sport where the coaches have... it's definitely not a sport where the coach doesn't have an effect on the team. It's the sport where if you have a bad coach, your team is not going to have success. So, yeah, I just want to say I've had a come-to-Jesus moment with Nick Sirianni that no matter what happens in the Super Bowl, obviously, please win this game for my mental sake and Soren's and everyone else's. But Don't shake your head, Cam. But when it comes to Sirianni, I am now a Sirianni lifer. He will make bad decisions, but he is a winning coach, and he is my coach, and I'm proud that he is my coach.
Crazy what I know you mentioned last season.
Yeah.
It's crazy what happens when you fire Matt Patricia and take him off.
Yeah, no,
defensive
I know
play
it's
calling.
crazy. It's crazy.
It's crazy what happens.
All right. Let's go down to the always scary, smelly, unbelievably untamed Soren's Alley. Soren, how we doing, buddy?
Like I said, I don't know if something's been weird lately. Getting sick for some reason. I don't apologize in advance if my voice can sometimes be on and off at some points, but
Yeah.
like I said, just trying to recoup from this weekend. And that I will start off by saying though that I had a wonderful time at Tolly's yesterday, and me and Corey and the crew all went out and had a good time. And we also had a little presentation from Tommy's experience in South Africa. Thought that was pretty interesting. He showed a lot of very interesting and intriguing pictures. So it was cool. I mean, it was one of those weekends where, you know, you're just chilling back and hanging out with the boys. That's all you can really ask for. But, however, going into the sports realm of things, I did watch the Toronto Maple Leafs play against the Ottawa Senators the other night, and they lost 2-1 off a knee tap goal from Ottawa Senators, which is something that you don't really see very often. But yeah, it's one of those games where it's pretty devastating, and that, you know, it sucks. When you lose, it's, you know, a terrible time. But they lost only 2-1, but yeah. And their next game will be on Wednesday against the Minnesota Wild. So looking forward to that. That's going to be on ESPN Plus at 7 o'clock. Can't wait to see that. Very excited. Now, the most exciting thing that happened this weekend was the Eagles win. That game was a statement. I will say this only once, and that the Eagles are going to the Super Bowl. Hooray. I am so excited. Can't believe it. But they scored a dominant 55 points. That is unheard of.
It is.
It is very unheard of.
You're right.
And I actually looked at some of the scores from the regular season. This game has to be the highest amount of points they've scored the entire year,
Well,
which
that
is insane to think about.
That
as
is
well.
what happens when you score 8
And that
touchdowns.
That is what happens when you run the ball against the 30th ranked defense and you have the best running back in the league. It's almost like if you had the best running back duo in the league, you could score 60 points running the ball.
Okay, we get it.
Sorry.
You're salty.
It's crazy. But like I said, 7 rushing touchdowns. Incredible. Even a Will Shipley touchdown too. That is awesome.
Go Will Ship, baby.
Yeah, give some credit to him, man.
I saw the balloons, JD.
He is awesome. He is awesome, man.
Oh Lord, him.
And that the defense did its job too, making a key couple of takeaways, 2 of them in fact, leading into 14 points for the game.
Yeah, no.
Pretty incredible to see that. So
One
Glad
more
you're
dub,
happy,
baby.
Soren.
One more
Yeah.
dub. What a way.
Yeah,
Always
that's
love,
it for
always
that's it
love
for me,
going
guys,
down
so.
Soren's Alley. So
Don't we
great.
all?
Yeah.
Closing scream.
All right. Time to get into the newest segment, the weekly HKB Monday parlay. Real quick, we do have a new rule for the HKB parlay. If one person sells the parlay, they will have to wear a cone of shame. So that is the new rule. I still have to go purchase a cone, but we will be doing that. Also, real quick, gambling is a serious issue. If you have a gambling problem, please go get help. Call 1-800-GAMBLER today. All right, let's get into the 4-leg parlay for tonight. Soren, kick us off. What do we got for your leg of the parlay?
So for my leg of the parlay, I have the Edmonton Oilers beating, I believe, the
See if you can get there.
trying. Said I'm clearly not ready.
Seattle. It's the Kraken.
Oh yeah, the Seattle
There you
Kraken,
go.
right?
There
we
you go.
Yeah,
All right.
had to figure it out, but we got it.
All right.
I think that the Edmonton Oilers are going to beat the Seattle Kraken, like I don't know, just said 5 seconds ago. But I think that well, besides that, Connor McDavid's out for the game. I think Leon Draisaitl, I think, is going to play a very interesting game, and that I think he might have a couple of goals. So
All right.
see how that turns out to be.
Cam, your pick?
So I think we all I forget, someone picked the Hornets Lakers game first. I don't remember who.
Corey.
So Corey, yeah. Shout out to Corey. So from there, I decided to look at that game. I was looking at the Pistons game too. I kind of want to throw some I was thinking Tobias Harris for tonight. Didn't really like what I was seeing. So I decided to change it up. Last week's episode, I had a lot of pain towards the Ball family. So I'm hopefully making it up. So I'm going to be taking LaMelo Ball for over 20 points alternate. In his NBA career, I believe this season he's averaging 26 or something, 28.9 points per game. But more specifically, against the Lakers, he has played 5 times in his NBA career. In total, he's averaging 23.6 points against the Lakers in the 5 games. And every time he has scored more than 20 points. The last time he only scored 20 points was in 2022 in January the 28th, which is tomorrow. He scored exactly 20 points against the Lakers in 34 minutes. So that's the lowest he's ever scored against the Lakers. I think he's got it. Hornets love to move the ball around him. So let me see LaMelo Ball get 20 points.
Your favorite artist's younger brother.
Favorite's a word.
Corey, what do you got for your pick of the parlay?
I got Lakers Hornets over 221.5. Lakers are going to get the win, but even though the Hornets on record wise aren't very good, I think they're still a very competitive team. I mean, their point differential this year is minus 4.7, so they don't lose by much. And I mean, they have talents like LaMelo Ball and Miles Bridges.
Yes, sir.
Tried to do the Hornets announcer, but I can't.
Oh,
My
Terry,
voice.
2
But-
beauties. Alrighty. For the last leg of the parlay, I picked James Harden to go over his points, rebounds, and assists against the Phoenix Suns. His last 4 times out, the line currently is 35.5. Last 4 times out, he has smashed this line. He's a lethal scorer. He sets up his teammates very well. And he has a tendency. Last time out, he had a triple-double against Phoenix, so I would like to see him repeat that, so I'm going to rock with the beard. So, the parlay for this week, over in the Lakers and Hornets games, a little same game plus with that and LaMelo Ball for 20-plus points. James Harden over 35.5 PRA, and the Edmonton Oilers for, give or take, depending on the sportsbook, about plus 400 odds. So if you feel like tailing us or fading us, you do what you will. But just a reminder that gambling is a serious issue. And if you need help, please call 1-800-GAMBLER today. All right, last little bit before we wrap it up. Wanted to talk about this past week, right after the show last week, the MLB Hall of Fame had been announced, the newest nominees. We got 3 of them. We'll start with the almost unanimous one. One person held out. I hate the voter. Like, who are you voting? Why are you voting against him? Ichiro Suzuki, longtime Seattle Mariner, had the greatest beginning of a professional career, winning Gold Glove, Silver Slugger, an All-Star nomination, an MVP, and a Rookie of the Year. An absolute legend. And then after that, we had longtime Yankees lefty CC Sabathia, an excellent career, the hottest trade acquisition in 2008. Started that year with the then Cleveland Indians. Was traded to the Milwaukee Brewers and was the absolute reason that they made a postseason push. It played half the season there, Cam, and finished 5th in NL Cy Young voting. Just an insane run in his short time in Milwaukee, and then that earned one of the biggest contracts for lefties, one of just 3 left-handed pitchers in all of baseball to finish with 3,000 career strikeouts.
That's sick. Did
Yeah,
not know that.
Sabathia is
Sorry.
awesome.
This is just out of my realm.
And then the last Hall of Famer in his final year on the ballot finally got enough votes. Lefty reliever Billy Wagner, mainly known for his time in Houston, but had spent time with my Philadelphia Phillies and John's New York Mets. I think he's 6th all time in saves, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, 3 excellent players. John, David Wright hanging on the ballot by a thread.
Yeah, he honestly, he was my favorite player growing up, and he doesn't deserve to make it. He played too much. So.
Nah, he won't.
Okay.
It is interesting though, because next year, like you could tell for this ballot, Ichiro and Sabathia were 2 household names entering the field. Next year, there's not a ton of like, wow, this guy's gonna be a first year. Carlos Beltran will probably make it next year. He missed not by too much this year. Former Met. The only thing kind of holding him back is his ties to the 2017 Astros, but they're going to induct him in. I think he had like 70% of votes. He'll get there. But yeah, congrats to the 3 Hall of Famers going to be inducted in July. All right, let's wrap this one up. Time for the Monday picks. For the first time, it's unfortunate that Corey had to be sick this week. Could be the only time that he is holding first place. But Corey is atop the leaderboard now. After Ohio State picked up the W in the national championship, followed by Cam, Jack, and myself. So the Glasses gang back at the top of the board. Shouts to
Poor fellas.
Shouts to having 4 eyes. I guess you guys have you guys have better vision than we do on some of these picks.
Dun.
Then after Big Z, it's me, and then back in the cellar as last year, JD and Corey, or sorry, JD and Soren. My mistake. I was thinking fantasy, Corey. That's my fault.
Let's not talk about that.
But so we decided we were fortunate that we had Monday football each of the last 2 weeks. We don't have it this week. Next week we have a preview. It will be for the Super Bowl. But so we decided to pick our probably most anticipated NBA game of the week, which is happening on Wednesday night. We got the Nuggets and the New York Knicks. John has a little bit of bias towards this one, but who cares? I'll have a little bias towards next week. But rocking Nuggets Knicks should be a great game. I'm going to start off by taking the New York Knicks 121 to 115. Denver ranks 3rd in points per game, 1st in field goal efficiency. Knicks are 5th and 3rd in the same categories. But, they won back in Denver back in November. Shot about 61% from the field, about 53% from 3, and set a franchise record in assists, 45 assists. Now, I don't think the scoring will be to the same extent as it was from that game, despite having 2 great scoring offenses. I think it's going to be high scoring for sure, but I think the Knicks are going to have just enough to take away this. I think Denver has been phenomenal this year, but I think the Knicks are really catching their stride. I think they really want to catch their stride as All-Star break is quickly approaching, and start climbing their way to the top to kind of maybe, I wouldn't say take over the 1 seed. I think Cleveland and Boston are going to be 1 and 2, but maybe have an outside shot to take that over. We'll have to wait and see, but I'm going to rock with the New York Knicks. Only 2 games behind Boston, 6.5 behind the top spot, so maybe this could be the game that helps them catch their rhythm. JD, who are you rocking with?
Yeah, I got the Knicks 132 to 120. I really hope we stop picking games that involve my teams, because I think I'm 0-4 this year, because I know we did Jets twice because it was Monday night, Notre Dame, and there was another one in there at some point. Yeah, now the Knicks. Hopefully not, but yeah, I got them winning. I know we all know the household names per se with Brunson against Murray, Jokic and Towns, but the X Factor matchup is OG Anunoby and Michael Porter Jr. Last time they played, obviously, like you said, they won, but OG had 40 points, and he normally doesn't do that very much. He's also on a heater right now, so that usually lasts about 3 to 5 games before he forgets how to shoot for 5 games. So he'll be in the middle of that. So I think he'll score a ton. Michael Porter Jr. is terrible on defense anyway, so he should be scoring a lot of points. And 30 and 16, like you said, 2 games from the Celtics. Cavs have been losing a lot as well, so I think the Knicks haven't played their best game yet, like their best type of basketball yet, but I think they're hitting their stride, and they got to beat Memphis first tonight, and then they take care of the Nuggets on Wednesday. But yeah, they're going to win.
Corey, what you got in this one?
I got the Nuggets, 118-112. I think it's going to be a back and forth battle. Like we said, the Nuggets lost by 27 in their first matchup. While it's at MSG, I just find it hard to believe that the Nuggets are going to lose to them again. Obviously, Joker's going to do what he does. Jamal, MPJ, Townsend Brunson will play good, but I just think the Nuggets are going to have the slight edge in this one, but 118-112.
All righty. Okay.
Give me the Nuggets, 108-103. Didn't really have that. I don't want to say it like this. I didn't really have that much care in the world of this game. This game does look like it'll be sick. I'll probably do end up tuning in. But I couldn't necessarily fade Corey this week. I'm trying to regain my crown. But I figured the worst thing that can happen is we both lose. I can slowly gain back that momentum. Usually my point differential is slightly better than Corey based on statistics. So we'll figure it out eventually. But yeah, 108-103 Denver Nuggets.
Soren, who you rocking with?
With the Denver Nuggets with the score of 115-105. I think that Jamal Murray is going to have a decent game along with Nikola Jokic, I believe. And I think that he'll dominate in points, and then Murray and Porter will help out with some assists as well. So I think this is going to be a very intriguing game to watch.
Yeah. Big Z, wrap us up.
So I don't have the most ball knowledge in the world when it comes to basketball, but I do have the Nuggets taking this one 120-107, along with a Michael Porter Jr. 50-point game. Might go to averaging 2.3 assists per game this season, which feels like a lot for him. And about 18 points a game.
Yeah, he doesn't swing the rock.
I'm going 50 points, no assists for MPJ.
What'd you put in the
over
group chat
Denver.
yesterday?
Yeah, you made a bold statement in the group chat. Hold on.
Nikola
was
Jokic
it?
from half
Oh,
court.
yes. And another half quarter from Jokic. It seems like he's doing that every other game at this point.
He'll do it and just shrug it off like
We'll take 3 points off if he hits it.
We'll ride off a horse into the sunset after a full quarter.
All right, so John's trying to get out of the cellar. I'm trying to overtake Corey for the top spot. Haven't had the crown since like week 2 of last year, so trying to get back on top. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. That game will come out Wednesday night. And then next week, we will have some Super Bowl predictions, among some other things. We got coming up in a few weeks the He Knows Ball Awards. So stay tuned for that. That should be a good one. Corey, JD, got anything before we wrap it up?
No, hopefully I'm back next week for Monday's show, and I'm not on the. I go from questionable to like a 30-day IR.
Yeah, let's hope flu game does not overtake Corey too much. JD, you got anything before we wrap it up?
No, I'm just gonna go watch the press conference and sit there in misery. But besides that, I'm having a good day.
All right,
that's it.
That's gonna do it for this edition of He Knows Ball. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube, follow on Instagram and TikTok, like, notifications, all that good stuff. Cam to my left, Corey on the IR, Soren in his alley, John in the island of Staten. I'm Vincent Goldschmidt. Stay ballin', Scranton.